If you're looking for some straight-up marketing advice that's super chilled and also a bit of a laugh, then grab yourself a drink and get ready for Marketing and Margaritas, a podcast that makes marketing entertaining. Brought to you by Rebel Nation, direct from regional Queensland.
Hello and welcome to Marketing and Margaritas. Today we are talking end-of-year marketing. Now, when we were preparing for this episode, I was like, right, I'm going to count for how many weeks we've got because, yes, I'm one of those.
Because everyone wants to hear that. Everyone wants to know how many weeks till Christmas. No, we don't.
You haven't started your Christmas shopping?
No, I haven't. Actually, have you?
Yes, I have one thing. I've been planning, but I've already started slowly. I'm like, is it too early?
Yes, it's too early.
It's not too early.
It's September. It's my birthday to come first. That's way more important.
I've already got that present. Anywho, so we're talking end-of-year marketing for your business. Christmas will be here before we know it because it just keeps rolling. We're already 3/4 of the way through the year. Crazy. So getting organized just makes that period go much smoother. There may be some businesses that don't have a lull at Christmas, depends what your service is or how your business runs. But we find that a lot of businesses are either closing during that period, Christmas, New Year, or running skeleton crews because people are really just needing a break and taking time off.
Yeah, and that's it, because there are so many businesses that do close, even if you are one of those businesses that are open.
Yeah.
If you're not in the retail sector or like hospo, then generally you're a bit quieter than anyway, sort of thing. So yeah, it is just there are certain things that you kind of don't have to do, but are good to do at the end of the year.
Yes.
As far as your overall marketing.
First thing is letting your clients and suppliers know if you are having a quiet period and closing your doors.
Yeah, basically. And that's what today is about, is really going through the different ways to market, what those open and close times are, plus a few other extra bits and pieces.
All right, so what should we do first?
Okay, so first up is obviously to know what your dates are. So, if it's applicable for your business, is working out when you're going to be closing, when you're going to be opening, and if you're going to have skeleton staff at any particular time frame or whatever. And for some businesses, that also means working out your cutoffs for orders and deliveries and stuff as well. So for example, our printers, they always shut over Christmas, and so they have a cutoff date before their closure date of when they'll take certain orders and stuff if you need it before end of year. Otherwise, anything that comes after that or whatever waits till the next year. So knowing what your dates are so that you can plan out if you do need to have work cut-off dates. And then alongside of that is knowing your supplier dates. So for example, for us, our closure dates, it's also useful for us to know when all of our suppliers are shutting as well. So then we're working out our time frames, it kind of works in with theirs a little bit, just to make life a bit easier for everybody. You're not just like sitting around waiting for something that's not going to happen because they're not there.
Yeah.
And then, they're back a week early or whatever.
So Rebel supplies, if you want to take 2 weeks, just let us know.
Well, and so many of ours do though, it's sort of, and the thing is, so many of our clients also take that week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever off as well. So it is just like that lull. But I think that happens a lot in B2B sort of space. So.
True, very true.
And then, it's about marketing those dates, pretty much letting people know. And there's like all little different things that you can do to make that happen.
Like email signature.
It's one of the easiest ones to do. So like I think we normally actually do like a holiday email sig.
Yes.
So that incorporates our dates. But even if you just do like your normal email sig and put a line of text underneath saying,
just a sentence.
Please note, we will be closing on blah, blah and opening on blah, blah.
And don't do that like the week you're closing.
Yeah.
Do that a little bit early, like month, 2 months, let people plan.
Yeah, the more notice people have, and it's just one of those things that seeing something once, you're not going to remember it, where if it's on every email for every staff member, then you're just trying to make it as easy as possible for other people to work with you pretty much. And then also your socials. So depending on your industry, like if you were shutting for quite a period of time, you might want to like let people know a few months in advance, pin that post, maybe not that time, but like pin it like closer to, do a reminder, something like that. For those of us, like we shut for 2 weeks, so we normally do, I think, like a post a few weeks out, and then we just pin it during the actual holiday period. So if someone goes to our socials, they can see that there.
So this is a little bit off topic. Should you, as a business, pre-plan and schedule out some Christmas closure social media posts?
Some people do. And I think it's because it's one of those things that some people don't like to have posts going out if they're not actually at work, because they can't respond to things and stuff. But at the same time, if you don't have consistent content going out, then you can lose exactly like some of that sort of traction that you've worked so hard to gain. So scheduling out even just 1 or 2 a week with filler type content or whatever is fine. You know, even like the Happy New Year or whatever.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So just a few bits and pieces, even like a reminder we're opening again on this Monday, you know, something like that as well. Because again, if it's been 2-3 weeks or whatever, you can't expect people are going to remember your dates. You know, it's hard enough remembering your own dates, let alone anyone else's dates as well.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so...
What was your point? So, but yes, it was a good point.
Touche. All right, so alongside email, signature, social media, we've got EDMs. So should you be sending those while you're away, or are you just incorporating that information beforehand?
I don't, like, we don't send wild oats out while we're away because that is our break. It is our time off sort of thing. And I think that kind of reinforces that message that we're on break.
Yeah.
Whereas, yes, including it in your, like, so if you do e-blasts or an e-newsletter or any kind of email comms, again, whether it is like a, you know, doing a little strip banner in it, or whether it is just a line of text or something, just making sure that you're just communicating on all those different channels what your closing dates are and your open dates. And website announcement bar is another really good one for this. So I don't know about you, but like I know that I'll go to a website over Christmas, and it'll be like just a little local store. So I'm like, maybe you're closed, like maybe you're open, you know what I mean? Like a don't know sort of thing. And so having to try and hunt for that information across their socials or their website or whatever, you just think for people who are finding you online, whether they do business with you online or whether they do business with you in person, you kind of want things like that to be really easy to find. So an announcement bar, or I say announcement bar, there's all different ways you can do it. I like the announcement bar.
But it's something towards the top of the menu.
Exactly.
Of the page,
top of the fold sort of thing on the home page.
Yes.
So announcement bar is like the one that's a little strip right above the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could change out your homepage banner, or if you've got sliding banners, make it like the first one or something so they always see it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have that, it might just be a little breakout section or something like, hey, we're on leave for the holidays, we'll be back on blah blah, but please send through questions to wherever sort of thing, so you don't lose any potential conversations and stuff there as well.
I think it's important to note it on your contact page as well, because some people will, if I'm just looking for contact or open hours, I'll just go to the contact us page.
Don't even look at anything else, I'm just going there.
Just go there. And if I'm like, right, they're open from 9 o'clock and I rock up and they're not, I get a bit peeved.
And that's it. No one wants to make that physical trip somewhere if they're not 100% certain that place is going to be open, sort of thing. Or even if you're doing like shortened hours during the holidays, whatever it might be, just communicate it to people. Like, again, just make it easy for people to do business with you.
And those kind of website updates are quite quick and easy.
Yeah, it should just be a no-brainer. But remembering to do it, like literally we have a checklist of stuff that we do at the end of the year, because there's no way you would just like remember that all the time. Well, some people might, but like I don't.
This is one of those future moments where we're like, it's so glad I did this.
Yeah. Thanks, Past Jade and Lani. Well done.
All right, so also on that list is phone messages. So updating your message bank.
Yeah, I think it's such an important one too, because just, again, if that person has gone straight to calling you because they already have your number or they've seen it somewhere, that doesn't necessarily mean that they got it from your website and saw that you're closed.
No.
So if they call and it goes to message bank and no one calls them back, or they are just like, I'm calling in the middle of the day, I've called twice, it's gone to message bank, they might think your business is no longer operating.
I've been calling for 2 weeks and no one's answered. Where are they?
Yeah, like obviously they don't exist anymore.
I'll tell everyone.
Basically. So I think, the phone message bank, and if you have work mobiles, same thing for that. Like that's not going to stop people calling, and you might want to return calls on your work mobile or whatever. But I think just having that message there can help be a bit of a deterrence. Like people go, hey, no need to call me back straight away. When you're back in the office, can you do this and this sort of thing? Because
it's more awkward to go, hi, I'm actually on leave at the moment and the office is closed. Like you don't want to have that conversation with someone and tell them like, so let, that voice your voice message do that. That's you anyway.
That's it. But I know. I feel so bad when I call someone. I'm like, hey, have you got this and this? And they're like, actually, I'm just over in blah, blah at the moment. I'm like, shit, dude, sorry. Like,
enjoy bye.
Yeah, I would not have done that if I knew. And they're like, no, it's fine. I'm working anyway. I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be. Maybe you should be having a break.
Yeah.
So yes, phone message is a useful way of doing that.
Okay, so your physical business is next.
Yes, putting up a sign like is the most old school sort of way of advertising, a sign on the front door. And that's probably maybe even more so for say like deliveries or something like that. Like lots of businesses do get walk-ins though, to be fair. Like we don't.
No.
You know what I mean? Like we're not the kind of place where you would just walk up and be like, hey, I want this. Like obviously people come to us because they have an appointment and stuff.
Yes.
But there are places where, you know, they might just have walk-in business. So just having the door shut, I don't think is quite enough. Like, I think it's, you know, again, it's that clear communication, putting up a sign saying that we're on leave and we'll be back. And, you know, here's a contact email or whatever like that if you do want to send something through and we'll get back to you when we're back or whatever.
Absolutely. Because if you are a walk-in business, most places have their open hours on their door. So if it's saying 9 o'clock and it's 10:30 and no one's there, that raises a question again.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it seems really basic and stuff, but it's just one of those things that can, at the end of year rush, when you're like tired and you're like, oh my God, we had so much to do. We've gotten what we can. I'm shutting the door for the next 2 weeks.
I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just remembering to do these things it just helps again so that people kind of know where you're at and what's happening. We can't expect people to know what we're doing if we don't tell them.
Exactly. And it just takes one person that's like, they went there, no one answered my calls, I went to the office, no one was there, no one's replying to my emails.
It does, man. It can affect your reputation and stuff too. Like people
that just
talk.
snowballs. Yeah.
Basically. And so it's like out of offices as well. So back on the electronic side is having that out of office for you and any team members, letting people know when you're out and coming back. Again, it's a really basic thing, but you just don't want to forget it. Like, I know that sometimes we'll have staff go on leave, like just normal leave, and they'll forget to put their out of office on. And it's like, can you go put blah blah's out of office on?
Yeah.
Josh, you've done that before. So, you know, it's just one of those things, like if you have a reminder for everyone across the team on their last day to make sure they do their out of office.
Yes, absolutely. You've got a note here which I quite like is about
I'm glad you're enjoying my agenda.
Well done. Good job, past Jade.
Thanks.
It's about a notice about when you're stopping taking appointments. So like if you're closing on a certain date, you've obviously still got work to do. You're not going to be avoiding taking your last appointment on the last day of work is probably a good idea.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people do fall into a trap of.
Yeah.
And I've done it myself before as well, where it's like, maybe not so much like with Christmas leave, but like with like just annual leave or whatever, where I'll schedule things on the last day and then I'm like, crap, I'm not going to be in the country or whatever tomorrow and I've got things all day, so now I can't get stuff done.
And I've got all those wrap-up stuff I needed to finalise and I was in meetings all day.
Yes, that is useful. But the main point of that was actually about including your close and your open dates. So I see this with people where they're like, we're closing on blah, blah. And it's like, great, when are you going to be back? Or like, and I have to admit, I've actually done this before too, like on my out of office. Like, hey, I'm away, I'll get to you when I'm back. And then when I came back, I looked at my out of office and I'm like, I didn't say when I was coming back. I'm like, who knows when I'll be back?
Don't have to reply straight away.
Yeah, like I've got plenty of leeway. So, it's just useful to have in there what your open and close, like when you're closing, when you're opening again. But yeah, when your appointments, so you might be cutting off appointments so that you're not like my hairdresser, like at the end of November, I think she doesn't take any more December appointments.
Yeah.
Because whatever she has in December, by then it's probably booked out.
Yeah.
But that means that she kind of works her leave around that as opposed to having set times for when she's off.
Yes.
And then has her like open date again sort of thing. So yeah, just having those close dates and stuff in that as well.
And I guess for different staff that are actually having extended leave over that period as well, we've got a couple in the office that are taking a day or two extra. So noting when the office is actually closed and open and when they are back in case their client wants them.
That's a really good point too, especially like in that out of office sort of thing. Like if I was going to be taking extra days, I would say the office will be open on the 4th of January or whatever date it is, and I will be back in the office on the 7th of January or whatever it is, sort of thing.
I was going to say 6. You're coming back to work.
I'm not taking extended leave this time. I'm only taking the 2 weeks.
Very good. That's approved.
To appreciate it.
All right, anything else on the list?
Yes. I think it's also important to include a thank you. So when you look like you're about to laugh at that, why is that funny?
Like, thank you for letting me have your leave.
Not that. So, if you do Christmas cards and gifts or whatever for clients or suppliers or whoever your stakeholders are, that's really nice. But I think not in a dismissive way, I'm like, that's lovely, congratulations. But I think it's also a really good idea when doing your end of year marketing activities is to look into where you can include a thank you to everyone who has supported you through the year.
Yeah.
So, I think it's just a nice personal touch where, like, for example, a Facebook post or even an out of office message is not just, here's my dates, I'm away.
Yeah.
But more like, thanks so much for a fantastic 2022. It's been a great year. Going to have some time off. I'll be back on blah, blah. It's just a little bit more personable and stuff. And it's just another way of communicating that you really do care about the people that you're working with and who do support your business.
100%. And like I was going to say, it's part of your personal brand, but you personalize your message quite a bit for when you're out of the office.
Not so much anymore, but back in the old days, I used to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, like you get old and tired.
But it is nice to not just be like, we're closed this date, we're open here, email me then.
And it's, end of year is just a nice time to recognize and appreciate the people who are helping you and there for you sort of thing. And I just think it's an important thing to note that when we say, yes, it's important to use all of these different things to communicate your dates, it doesn't necessarily need to be clinical.
No.
Like you can still do it in a nice way.
It's also not a Logie speech and you're not thanking your mother and everyone. Well, maybe your mom helps a lot with the business, but if she's emailing you while you're on leave, that's a bit weird.
Yes, I would say so.
All right, is that all we got?
My last one is about when you get back, remembering to change it all back.
Maybe set a calendar reminder for that.
Yes, definitely. So obviously, turning your out of office should be pretty obvious because it kind of comes up as a notification that it's on.
Yeah.
And your door, like when you walk back, you'll see the sign so you can take it down. But things like you don't probably go and look at your website.
What?
So, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we don't generally spend a lot of time on our own website.
And that pin post can stay there for
so long.
God, I've come across so many pages.
So
you just want to comment on it and be like, check this down. But everyone will see it and it'll get traction.
And you don't want to, like shame them.
No.
So we have a client who runs an event every year. And so we only get admin access to their page during that time. So I can interact with their content when it's not campaign time. And 9 times out of 10, they will have a pin post on there from like some notification they did from months ago that's no longer. And I'm always like, I don't even ask them. I'm just like go in and unpin. I'm like, relief.
It's like our phones are down in January.
Another good one, if you've changed your phone message, remember to change it back, like on mobile stuff. Yeah. I'm on holidays, and it's like, March or whatever. It's like, God, these guys take long annual leave.
This is a 2-way checklist.
Basically. So whatever you've gone through and done, then go through and undo when you get back in the office.
Wonderful. All right, and so we have a wrap-up tip. It is end of year can be a trigger to review marketing as well. So we do business planning ourselves end of year. We get really amped on what went well. It's fun to review, actually.
No, because you always think that you haven't actually done anything, and then when you get
it's gone so fast, we did nothing.
You get to your plan and stuff, and you're like, actually, there's a lot to tick off. Like, it
and
feels
we did all these extra things.
Yay!
What are we going to do next year? That's so exciting. And then you're like, man, I'm exhausted. I'm home for 2 weeks of sleep. And then you have a new year to enact it all.
Basically.
But if you are unlike us and have a quiet period over Christmas to New Year, we will forgive you if you reschedule it to a slightly quieter period.
Yeah, whenever your quiet period is. I think it's just more important that as well, like, once a year you're going through and having a look at, and you might do this for your whole business like we do, or it could just be marketing.
Yeah.
What went well, what didn't go well, what do we want to do? And basically, it could just be a quick review even to go through and say, okay, I'm going to earmark in the new year that, we need to do an in-depth upgrade of the website.
Yeah.
So you don't need to do the full review then. You might just go through and go, okay, how's everything doing? How's everything performing? Okay, traffic's dropped off, or actually it's really out of date.
Here's the thing.
Scheduling that for the new year to work on, sort of thing. So you kind of, when you come back, you've already got an idea of what does need to be done marketing-wise. And it's also, like Marnie said, it's just good to actually reflect on what you have achieved for the year too, and to see your results, like having a look at your analytics and stuff over a 12-month period for your socials and your website and all that kind of thing. Seeing how many people actually came to your website and where the trends and what months were big and stuff. Like, oh yeah, that's right. That's when we were doing that campaign and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I forgot, like that was a huge campaign. We did so well, so it's just, a good opportunity to just reflect on the year that was, but also you don't necessarily have to do the full review, but just have a look at stuff so that next year you've got earmarked what you're actually going to go in and spend more time on for your marketing.
Wonderful.
I think so, yeah.
All right, well, we hope you guys have got something out of today's episode. Good luck with your end-of-year marketing and making sure everyone knows when and where they will find you. Mm-hmm. And Merry Christmas.
Oh, God. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Marketing and Margaritas. Find more free marketing tips, tricks and laughs at rebelnation.com.au.